Welcome to another session in AWS. So, in our previous session, we were discussing about an important service in AWS, which is our Elastic Compute Cloud. So, in EC2, we launched an instance, which is an Windows instance, which is available under the Amazon machine image. We further configured the default VPC. We enabled the HTTP, HTTPS, and we further hosted a website. We configured the IIS in the server's desktop, and we further proceeded with copying the IP of the web page and hosting it through the EC2 instance. From there on, we went into discussing about the volumes associated with the EC2. So we discussed about the root volume, the non-root volume. We attached a non-root volume to the root volume. We initialized the disk in RDP server, and further we detached the volume, and we saw how the scale up is happening in EC2. So in continuation to that, in today's session, we're going to be performing the same task of launching the instance, but rather we're going to choose the AMI image as Linux. So let's see how to do it quickly. So go ahead with launch instances. So I'm gonna give the name to my instance as Linux 1. So by default, the Amazon Linux image is chosen. So let it be the same. So we can see here the Amazon's Linux 2023 AMI features which is given to us, which is a 64-bit operating system with ARM processor, and the virtualization feature, and we even can understand from the root device type, which is the elastic block storage. It's given for the EC2 instance that we're gonna launch. Further, there is a small change here in the instance type, because every time we had launched a Windows instance, there would have been a different option. So if we just go ahead with Windows and if we just see the instance type, it should have been T2 micro. Or so if I go ahead with this, so I can see here the instance type is T3 micro. So for the every image that we choose, the instance type gets changed. So if I go ahead with Amazon Linux, so we can see here it is T2 micro here, and it is under the family T2. So let's quickly go ahead with key pair login. So I already have a key pair for the Ohio region, which is generated for the previous EC2 instances. So I'm gonna quickly go ahead with choosing the existing key pair. So I want this particular instance to be hosted in a default VPC, and hence I'm going ahead with the default option. And further, the subnet of my choice would be 2A. So let me just search for 2A. So it's over here. So let me click that. And I have to enable the public IP, which means this particular subnet is going to be publicly available. I'm not giving any restrictions on this subnet. Further, I'm not giving any restrictions on the EC2 instance either, which means whatever the website that I'm going to host could be accessed anywhere, with the public IP that's assigned to it. So in order to do that, I am going to go ahead with enabling public IP. On the other hand, if I go ahead with disabling the public IP, then which it would mean that this subnet is going to be a private subnet, and hence I'm going to go ahead with the first option of enabling. So we have two options here under the firewall of the security group, either to go ahead with create a new security group or to select an existing group if you had already configured it. I'm going to go ahead with select an existing group. I have a security group which is already configured for the default VPC, so I'm going to go ahead with that. Click on that and launch instance. Go to view all instances. Just refresh the page until the instance is available. So we can see here the state of the instance is running, instance type is T2 micro, the status check is under initialization, so we haven't set any alarm status. We will see in the upcoming sessions about it. So we have the availability zone. Oh, we had chosen subnet under 2A zone and hence it is shown here. And we have a DNS, public DNS, which is allocated for the public IPv4. And the key name and all those features, all the details have been given here. Okay, so now the instance is available for us to connect. Yes. So now before going ahead with connecting the instance, let's just check the security rules that's been enabled. So go to security tab, go to security groups, click on that. Okay, so we have the HTTPS enabled, HTTP enabled, and SSH, which is the port number of 22, and we have to enable this port to connect to the EC2 of Linux instance. So in case if it is a Windows instance, then we would be having RDP. So in case if you would want to add few more protocols, then go ahead with edit inbound rules. I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that now because we already have the protocols we require. So go to the instances, proceed with connect. So we can see the instance ID here, and we're gonna be connecting it using the public IP. The address is given here, and the username of our AMI is given here. Just go ahead with connect. This is gonna be hosting the CLI of our Linux window. Yes. So here, before hosting your web page, you're supposed to install few of the servers in order to enable the services in your Linux machine. So I have the code with me, the commands with me. So let me just go ahead with quickly. So let's dissect this and understand what this command is. So every time you give sudo in your Linux operating system, which means you are having the appropriate permission to run this specific command. So as a root user, you're going to be executing this command. It's a highly privileged permission. And DNF is a package manager, which is going to be enabling us to install HTTPD. And install is the command to install HTTPD. -y is to tell the command that it has to get launched automatically. It has to get installed automatically. So this is passively commanding the package manager to tell to proceed with it and to further configure all the operations without notifying at that point of time. So it takes the answer as S. So this installs all the packages related to HTTPD. And now we have to enable the service. So to enable the service, we have the command sudo systemctl start httpd. So after starting or enabling httpd, we are supposed to deploy the website. So to deploy the website, we need a path. So we are supposed to give the path and change the current directory to the path to put the code, HTML code of our website. We can even host it from the, or we can even pull it from the GitHub. But with the current lab, I'm gonna go ahead with uh, giving a code in HTML text format and then proceeding with launching it from your instance or hosting it from your instance. So let's quickly give this command. So if you can see here, if I perform ls, there's not going to be any file because we are supposed to give the file, we are supposed to code it. So we have to find an editor. So there are various editors available. So like Nano, VI. So I'm going to go ahead with VI editor. So let me just go ahead with sudo VI, the file name index.html. So now we've landed on the editor. So to perform edit on this page, you're supposed to click I and immediately the index.html line would be changing to insert. So I'm performing I and I can see the insert which has been shown to me now. Now I would be able to put my code here. So let me quickly put the code which I've already built. It's a simple home page. So let me paste it here. To save from this editor, all we have to do is escape :wq. But if you're working with a nano editor, then you have to perform Ctrl+X to save your file. Further, to confirm your saving of the file with S and enter. As I have chosen VI editor, I'm gonna go ahead with pressing the key